New Orleans was a completely different place at night. The narrow streets of the old French Quarter took on a mystical aura under the dim glow of gas lamps. The melancholic melodies rising from jazz bars were woven into the city's soul. But that night, music and laughter were replaced by screams and sirens. Jake Gyllenhaal was in New Orleans for a film shoot that day. Known for his deep commitment to his roles, the Oscar-winning actor had undergone special detective training and learned crime scene investigation techniques for his latest movie. However, that night, he was about to find himself in a nightmare beyond scripts and fake bullets. It was past midnight. Jake was at a crowded jazz club on Bourbon Street with a few producer friends when a scream suddenly pierced through the night like a knife. Within seconds, gunshots rang out. Jake and his friends ducked under the table. In the middle of the street, a masked man dressed in black was randomly firing a gun. Several people had fallen to the ground, while others were frantically trying to escape into nearby buildings. Jake's instincts kicked in. Fighting back his fear, he scanned the scene and saw a woman lying on the ground, wounded. He immediately crawled toward her and checked her pulse. She was breathing, but had been shot in the shoulder. Police sirens grew closer. The attacker turned and fled down an alley. Almost without thinking, Jake moved as if stepping into a movie scene and started following him. The attacker fled from Bourbon Street into a narrow alley. Jake weaved through the panicked crowd and chased after him. Adrenaline surged through his body, pushing him forward. "What am I doing?" he briefly thought. But his instinct, combined with the detective training he had received for his film, kept him going. The attacker hid behind a dumpster. Jake pressed himself against a wall, controlling his breath. Suddenly, the man bolted again, disappearing into another street. Jake ran after him, determined not to lose sight of him. The man entered a building. Jake hesitated for a second, but then followed. The place looked like an abandoned warehouse, dimly lit and eerily silent. Jake peeked around the corner and saw the attacker climbing a staircase. Just as he was about to move, a voice from behind stopped him. "Hands up!" It was the police. Jake immediately raised his hands and identified himself. "I'm Jake Gyllenhaal! The shooter just ran upstairs! You can still catch him!" The officers gave him a suspicious look but then rushed inside. Jake stepped back outside, exhaling deeply. By then, a news crew had arrived on the scene. The reporter's first words into the microphone were, "One of the key witnesses of tonight's attack is none other than famous actor Jake Gyllenhaal." By morning, every headline was focused on one name, Jake Gyllenhaal. Famous actor chases down attacker. The news spread like wildfire across the internet. His phone wouldn't stop ringing. His manager, family, and producers all trying to reach him. But Jake only had one thought in his mind. Did they really catch the man? A call came from the police department. Detective Marcus Hayes wanted him to come in for a statement. When Jake arrived at the New Orleans police station, Marcus took him straight to his office. "Do you realize what you did?" the detective asked. Jake shrugged. "I don't know. Maybe I was too reckless. But I couldn't just let that guy get away." Marcus smirked. "I want to show you something." He pulled up security camera footage on his computer. The suspect was seen escaping in a car. The license plate was unreadable, but one detail stood out. Before fleeing, the attacker had smashed his cell phone on the ground. "This wasn't just a random street crime," Marcus said. "This guy was sending a message." Jake's eyes narrowed. "Was someone the real target?" Marcus nodded. "That's what we need to find out. And your testimony is crucial." Jake's statement seemed straightforward. He described the masked man's weapon, clothing, and escape route. But the police uncovered a shocking detail. There was another important figure at the scene that night. The mayor of New Orleans had left Bourbon Street just 5 minutes before the attack. "So this was a political assassination attempt?" Jake asked. Marcus sighed. "We can't say for sure, but the attacker seemed more focused on causing chaos rather than picking a specific target. Someone sent him there." Jake took a deep breath. He had a gut feeling. This incident was just the beginning of something much bigger. A few days passed after the attack. Before leaving New Orleans, Jake met with Marcus one last time. "Will you find out who was behind this?" Jake asked. Marcus smirked. "Stay tuned." Sitting on his flight home, Jake scrolled through his phone. The news was still flooded with updates about the incident. Even conspiracy theories were surfacing. But the real truth was still hidden. In the dark streets of New Orleans, something bigger was at play. And Jake was determined to keep an eye on it. If you like this story, Please don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications for more inspiring stories. Remember, sometimes a small act of kindness can completely change a life.